Fantastic reality. Continuation. Part 6. EnergyForms. Planet Earth is an interplanetary space game. Alternative understanding of what is happening. Most of the outer space is filled with ancient energy worlds, in which other, more ancient energy life is present. The executive links of this living energy life are EnergyForms, which have mind, but do not have their own physical material bodies. In order for these EnergyForms to have their own material bodies and be in a completely different, material life, the EnergyForms began to create material bodies with modernized brains that can be controlled from a great distance from the energy worlds, while fully getting used to their lives. What is happening in the energy worlds? Planet Earth is an interplanetary space game, in which EnergyForms that do not have their own physical material bodies, when playing this real-time space game, can have their own material bodies, and they can experience a completely different, real life filled with turbulent material events, adventures, and real battles. Only EnergyForms do not play this interplanetary space game on their screens, as the inhabitants living in the material worlds do when playing their computer games. But by controlling the consciousnesses of people on the material planet, whose brains have been modernized to connect with the energy worlds. Therefore, the EnergyForms can play a real-time interplanetary space game that can take place on the entire material planet. By playing this interplanetary cosmic game, EnergyForms can, by controlling the minds of people on the material planet Earth, live on that planet from an early age until the material body chosen by the EnergyForm on that material planet can no longer perform its functional duties. In order to participate in this interplanetary space game, EnergyForms must pay the company that organized this game on the material planet a certain amount of kibs, energy money. On a material planet, there are many different beings who have a natural course of their evolutionary development. And if the EnergyForm, choosing a being on a material planet whose consciousness it will control, chooses to control the consciousness of a person who already has a modernized brain, then the cost of controlling the material body of such a person will be great. And if at the same time, the EnergyForm chooses to control the consciousness of an influential and rich person on the material planet in advance, then the EnergyForm, in this case, will have to contribute a significant large amount of energy money to the company that organized this cosmic game. The company that organizes these interplanetary games in outer space, in this case, must make sure that the small material and in the future, a wealthy and rich body chosen by the EnergyForm on planet Earth, without encountering obstacles, climbs the career ladder on the planet, as if by a wave of a magic wand, removing everyone who will interfere with the rapid rise of this material body on the material planet on the career ladder and maybe even on the career ladder. EnergyForms in the energy worlds choose the control of human consciousness, no matter how much it costs them. Because only by controlling the consciousness of a rational person located on a material planet, it is possible, in a not very large number of reincarnation periods of the life of material bodies, to quickly climb the energy career ladder, to earn a high position in the energy worlds, depending on the experience gained and the status earned. All of this makes it possible for EnergyForms who have attained great position and status in the energy worlds to have a luxurious eternal energy life filled with great influence and fame. This carefree life is what the EnergyForms in the energy world strive for, giving their consent to participate in these interplanetary space games. People living on the planet, according to the legends that reach them from their energy formations, call such a life paradise, without fully understanding what it could really be. EnergyForms participating in this interplanetary space game can experience real adrenaline, and themselves participating in real-time battles, controlling the incomprehensible material bodies located on this material planet. And most importantly, in this cosmic game, the ever-living EnergyForms do not die. Only their material bodies can die, because the EnergyForms are in another energy world, and people living on the material planet can get them there, who are already beginning to guess what can really happen on the planet, but they cannot do anything. In order to organize the space game on the material planets, the negative EnergyForms that control the minds of incompletely intelligent people living on these material planets first push these people against each other so that it is possible to start this exciting interplanetary space game in real time, completely immersing yourself with your consciousness in what is happening on this material planet. For these purposes, material planets are created in solar systems, on which any EnergyForm, for kibs, energy money existing in the energy worlds, can take part by confirming and agreeing to participate in this interplanetary space game, by contracting with a company that provides these interplanetary services. This contract stipulates all the conditions, the main of which is the EnergyForm will control the consciousness of the material body chosen by it on the material planet as long as this material body is alive, and the EnergyForm will not be able to refuse to control the consciousness of this material body located on the material planet. The name of the interplanetary space game comes from the name of the material planet on which this real-time space game is held. What is happening on the material planets and on the material planet Earth? And what happens to material bodies located on a material planet, who are sure that they are the main rulers of this planet? People whose brains are used by them at only 15% of their capabilities cannot catch the influence of energy formations on their consciousness. Because this is all for people, it happens on a subconscious level, inaccessible to their consciousness, so these people do not feel any influence of negative energy formations. Reasonable people on planet Earth should have noticed by now. As soon as people living on the planet get used to peaceful coexistence, some unknown forces begin to pit all people living on the planet against each other. After that, people living on the material planet begin to sort things out among themselves. Why is this done and who needs it? Planet Earth is the name of the interplanetary space real-time game in the energy worlds, which is played by negatively charged EnergyForms on material planets to control the consciousnesses of material bodies. The main characters who are and participate in this cosmic game on material planets choose EnergyForms, which initially have a negative potential of their energy. So, if there is a lasting peace and intelligent relationships between the inhabitants of this material planet on a material planet, then no game with shooting and victories will be possible. At the same time, the energy form, which controls the consciousness of a person, does not risk anything at all, because only its material body, the consciousness of which it controls, can die. This material body, the energy form, can easily replace. The main thing is that there is someone to replace. In this cosmic game, the characters on the material planet do not have their own autonomy. These characters do what they are told to do by their negatively charged energy forms that control their consciousnesses. Therefore, these main characters who are on planets can move from one version of the game to another version. According to the plan of the negatively charged energy formations, these main characters of this space game should exist for a long time and do everything to make this game last as long as possible. Where everything changes, and all the other characters get old, but not the main characters involved in this interplanetary space game. In this regard, artificial intelligence comes to their aid, making the main characters outwardly young, healthy, and pink-cheeked, smiling and attractive. People with power, who are controlled by energy forms, who have gone through only a few reincarnation periods, who do not have energy experience and support from the main energy world, will not be able to resist on material planets, energy forms that have a great potential for negative energy. The negatively charged energy forms of these vain, domineering people, no matter what position they occupy on the planets in the material worlds, will quickly take over their turnover. And these people, who occupy a high position on the planets, confident that it is them, own and control the situation, will do what is needed by energy forms that have a great potential for negative energy. And then, on the planets, there will be an endless confrontation and a showdown with their own kind, until the very bitter end, which in this case will be guaranteed to everyone. Weak-minded, negatively charged energy forms, who control people who have the highest indicator of their personal IQ, but do not have the necessary mind and energy knowledge, will not be able to do this. Positive heroes who are forced to perform negative roles. The main characters on the material planets who are involved in this interplanetary space game that the energy forms play in their energy world do not know. The fact that all of them participate in this cosmic game as negative heroes. Because at their own unconscious level of understanding of what is really happening on material planets, these main characters consider themselves the most harmless and positive heroes, no matter what they do on this planet. While their energy forms in the energy worlds accumulate negative energy. Because of these unreasonable people who do negative things on material planets. Influence of negative energy formations. Negatively charged energy forms, controlling from the energy worlds the consciousnesses of influential, as a rule, vain people located on material planets, with the help of their capabilities, can easily provoke any conflict situation on any material planets in the galaxy. Negative energy forms do this in order to involve as many energy formations as possible that do not have their own physical material bodies, to take part in this interplanetary cosmic game taking place on one of the material planets of their choice, giving the organizers of this space game the opportunity to earn large fortunes on this. Negative energy forms can pit out of the blue, with each other, uncomprehending inhabitants living on material planets, limited in their development, who will present other inhabitants who are on these planets, living in other regions, as enemies, without even understanding why they are doing this. What gives energy forms participation in interplanetary space games on planets? In order for energy forms to participate in this interplanetary cosmic game, they must settle accounts with the organizers of this game. Why? The kibs, the energy money that circulates in the energy worlds, which allows them to accumulate and store the energy that the energy forms need for their energetic eternal life in the energy worlds. The energy forms participating in this interplanetary space game can feel fearless, defeating everyone, while losing nothing, heroes hunters who have modern advanced weapons, which all others participating in this interplanetary space game, for a fee, may not have at all, because the organizers of this space game can also take care of this. Negatively charged energy forms do not care on which material planet in the galaxy they play this game, making huge fortunes on this game. But since people live on the planet with only 15% of their working brain and do not want to understand what is happening on the planet on which they are, then negatively charged energy forms with a lot of negative energy, controlling the consciousnesses of these vain domineering people who have taken up something that is not their business, for the sake of power and money, who have sinful dependence and weakness. These energy forms can easily force these vain people, who are on the material planets, to obey and fulfill their desires. These energy forms, on the subconscious, will force these people to participate in confrontations with their own kind. At the same time, negatively charged energy forms will make these vain people who are on material planets consider the fulfillment of the desires of negative energy formations to be their own desires. People on planet Earth, with a brain level of 15%, who have the highest indicator of their personal IQ, but do not have the necessary intelligence, will not cope with negatively charged, negative energy forms themselves. These people cannot even complain to the higher mind about what is happening on their planet. Who can resist energy forms that have a large potential for negative energy? Only those people whose energy forms have significant positive energy and extensive experience, who have undergone at least 80 reincarnations, periods, that have passed through at least 80 reincarnations, periods, will be able to resist the influence of negative energy formations with a great potential of negative energy. These people will not allow confrontations with their own kind on the material planets, so that there is no confrontation on these material planets. Only people who have such opportunities and abilities can do this. Negative energy forms that do not have the necessary status and energy experience will not be able to bribe and influence these people, whose energy forms have a great positive potential. They simply do not have enough energy knowledge for this. And without energy knowledge, it is impossible to apply any energy abilities to these people who have great positive energy, and even more so to influence their consciousness. That is why it is very important that the material planets are ruled by intelligent people, whose energy forms must have a great positive potential of divine energy. Also, the energy forms of these people must have support from the main energy world, in which the higher mind resides. This is necessary so that the planet Earth does not exist on its own, separately without the energetic divine influence. It is necessary for the higher mind to know that intelligent people on planet Earth need its protection. I repeat, all people on material planets are sent by the higher mind, God the Father, so that they can be corrected. And their energy forms could correct the potential of their energy from negative energy to positive. If people on material planets express disrespect for people living on these material planets, it means that they are expressing disrespect for the Supreme Mind, God the Father. An advanced civilization on a planet with great intelligence does not need confrontation. Confrontations are needed only for underdeveloped civilizations, which, due to the lack of sufficient intelligence, are forced to use the force, imposing something that necessarily leads to degradation. For advanced civilizations, resolving disputes by force is savagery. These undeveloped civilizations cannot compare themselves with other worlds, in which there is no violence, cruelty, and there are no stupid prohibitions on information, introduced out of desperation, which do not solve anything, only lead to retardation in development and lagging behind. From the author. The events described in the publication correspond to the general trend of what is happening on the material planets of the galaxy, and have nothing to do with the behavior of specific people on planet Earth. In order to properly lead your mind to the understanding that planet Earth can be just an interplanetary space game conducted in outer space by negative energy forms, I had to publish 5 publications beforehand. I wanted to show another alternative life, in which people are something more than the material bodies that people used to think of themselves as. Fantastic reality. Continuation. Part 6. Energy forms. Planet Earth is an interplanetary space game. Author of the publication, Anatoly Sem. March 23, 2026. To be continued.